Therefore, what you found was that when you discuss this topic, one of the most beautiful verses about inheritance within the Quran is the verse we have quoted in the beginning of the lecture. The verse is from Surah Maryam, Surah 19 of the Quran, verse number 5. وَإِنِّي خِفْتُ الْمَوَالِيَ مِنْ وَرَائِي وَكَانَتْ امْرَأَتِي عَاقِرًا فَهَبْ لِي مِنْ لَدُنْكَ وَلِيًّا يَرِثُنِي وَيَرِثُ مِنْ آلِ يَعْقُوبَ. The verse speaks about whom? It speaks about Prophet Zakaria. Prophet Zakaria had reached about the age of 90. The moment you understand this story, you'll understand Fadak. Prophet Zakaria reached the age of 90 with no children. And so what happened was, he was of course the guardian of Maryam, mother of Jesus. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala appointed him the guardian, and he would always go in to inspect how she is doing and look after her comforts. He saw a miracle occur within her. What was the miracle? The miracle was looking at the fruits. In the winter, there would be the summer fruits. And in the summer, there would be the winter fruits. And he would find what? He would find here that, how did these fruits come to her? Unless there is an angel who is looking after her. Having seen this, he saw it as a miracle. And he did not despair of Allah's mercy. The first thing you take from this verse is what? Do not despair of Allah's mercy even if you've reached the age of 90. Because the religion of Islam, according to Allama Dastaghaib, in his book The Greatest Sins, he says the first greatest sin is shirk. The second greatest sin is despair. Not adultery, not murder. No, what? Despair. Why? Because when I despair of God's mercy, what I am saying is that you are a subject to the laws of cause and effect as I am. What do I mean? I know that my world works in cause and effect. I know, for example, that every movement I make has an effect. But is my Lord subject to my laws? No. My Lord is the law of cause and effect. If he wants to break cause and effect, he can break it. Can a virgin give birth? No. Did Maryam give birth? Yes. When a knife cuts your neck, shouldn't you die? Yes. Did Ismail die? No. When Sarah reaches an old age, should she be able to give birth? No. Did she give birth? Yes. Therefore, in the same way, Nabi Zakaria highlighted for us that do not despair of Allah's mercy, even when it comes to your children. Some people do not have children and they give up. They say, there is no way I'm going to have any children. Do not despair. Why? Ahl al-Bayt tell us dua is the weapon of the believer. And the weapon of the believer means what? The only usage of a weapon, the only good thing about a weapon is when you actually begin to use it. If you just put a weapon on display at home in your front room without using it, then you are not using the potential. But when a person comes and takes that weapon and uses it, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guarantees him, وَإِذَا سَأَلَكَ عِبَادِ عَنِّي فَإِنِّي قَرِيبٌ أُجِيبُ دَعْوَةُ الدَّاعِ إِذَا دَعَانِي. What he did was he read dua. He said, Ya Allah, I'm above 90 years old. And I am scared of the mawali who will come after me. Question number one, who are the mawali? The mawali he's referring to are his cousins. Why? His cousins were of the worst people in Bani Israel. Same family, but were of the worst people. So he says, وَإِنِّي خِفْتُ الْمَوَالِيَ مِنْ وَرَائِي وَكَانَتْ امْرَأَتِي عَاقِرًا. And my wife is barren, she can't give birth. So what does he say? فَهَبْ لِي مِنْ لَدُنْكَ وَلِيًّا. I want you to grant me an inheritor. يَرِثُنِي وَيَرِثُ مِنْ آلِ يَعْقُوبَ. To inherit from me and from the people or from the family of Yaqub. The question on this verse is this: did he want someone to inherit his prophethood or his knowledge or his wealth? Because there is one school which says that Yaqub wanted someone to inherit, Zakaria wanted someone to inherit prophethood. Another school says he wanted someone to inherit his knowledge. A third school, the school of Ahl al-Bayt, says that he wanted someone to inherit his wealth. Why do we reject the first two schools? The reason is through the wording of the verse. The wording of the verse indicates that there's no way he was talking about prophethood or he was talking about knowledge. Why? Knowledge, as we said, is not inherited. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not see a father inherit knowledge. No. Knowledge is a gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is inspired by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in terms of knowledge of the prophets. This is inspired by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Not anyone can come and give the answers that Rasulullah would give. On the first area, it's not knowledge. Is it therefore prophethood or no? No, it's not. Why? Because he comes forward and says, وَاجْعَلْهُ رَبِّي رَضِيًّا. Ya Allah, make the person who inherits from me someone who you are pleased with. But Allah is automatically pleased with his prophets. What's the need for you to stress on Allah being pleased with your inheritor as a prophet when Allah is pleased with all his prophets anyway? Number two, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when he chooses his prophets are already those whom he is pleased with. You don't need to make a condition, Ya Allah, make someone who you are pleased with as a prophet of God. Therefore, what does it relate to? It relates to the fact that he was scared if him and his wife die and there is no child, the inheritance goes towards whom? The cousins. وَإِنِّي خِفْتُ الْمَوَالِيَ. I'm scared my cousins will inherit my wealth. So I want you to provide me whom? An inheritor who inherits from my wealth and the wealth of the family of Yaqub. When looking at this area, it highlights what? It highlights that the prophets of God leave behind wealth. And the idea that prophets of God leave behind an inheritance that is wealth. Otherwise he would not say, I am scared of the cousins who will inherit after me. The reason we use this verse, and the reason the ulama use this verse of inheritance, is to stress on the idea that the first Khalifa's hadith, when he addressed Fatima al-Zahra alayhi salam, the first hadith, excuse the left hand, the first hadith, when he came forward, what did he say? He said that Rasulullah said, your father, we the prophets do not leave behind inheritance. We don't leave behind gold or silver. What we leave behind, for example, is knowledge towards the people. When he came forward with this analysis, Fatima al-Zahra alayhi salam replied with this verse amongst a group of other verses. The first verse she used was this one. She came forward, what did she say? She says, O Muslims, will you allow my inheritance to be usurped? O son of Abu Quhafa, listen to her line. O son of Abu Quhafa, where is it written in the book of Allah that you inherit from your father and I do not inherit from my father? Surely this is an unprecedented thing. She then moves on to say, do you intentionally abandon the book of Allah and cast it behind your back? Have you not read the verses in the Quran? Which verses does she come with? The verse she comes with is this one. وَإِنِّي خِفْتُ الْمَوَالِيَ مِنْ وَرَائِي وَكَانَتْ امْرَأَتِي عَاقِرًا فَهَبْ لِي مِنْ لَدُنْكَ وَلِيًّا يَرِثُنِي وَيَرِثُ مِنْ آلِ يَعْقُوبَ وَاجْعَلْهُ رَبِّي رَضِيًّا. The next verse she comes with to prove that prophets do leave behind inheritance was وَوَرِثَ سُلَيْمَانَ دَاوُودَ. Sulaiman inherited from Dawood. The first Khalifa said, or those who are around him, or those who are here until today, they say no, Sulaiman inherited prophethood. He didn't inherit wealth. The problem with that argument is it's so weak. Why? Nabi Sulaiman was already a prophet while his father was a prophet. He didn't become a prophet after his father died. Nabi Sulaiman in the Quran, if you look at Surah 21, or even go to Surah 27 of the Quran, he was already a prophet in the time of his father. So what did he inherit? Nabi Sulaiman, for example, inherited the horses of his father. A great amount of horses. He inherited the palaces of his father, the kingdom, the wealth that was left behind, the movements of wealth from one place to another. That's why the Queen of Sheba converted to the religion of Islam through looking at the palace of Sulaiman. The Queen of Sheba, Balqis, converted to the religion of Islam when she saw the beauty of Sulaiman's palace. How?